Alright, so time to test out some new goodies for the car. Let's get you unlocked. Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy Shayness, and this video is going to be a little bit interesting because, as you can see, it is definitely a product review of a really cool gadget that you can attach to any vehicle of yours to get health readings and vehicle monitoring, and again, health for the vehicle. However, there's going to be a huge disclaimer at the end because my channel is basically geared at the KDM community and very specifically the Veloster community. Please stick around till the end of the video if you have a Korean vehicle or a Veloster, because I'm not trying to say anything negative about the product, but there's some huge technicalities that I just have to address based off of the car that my community drives. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. So first things first, for those of you guys that don't know where your OBD2 port is, when you go on the driver's side, we go down here, and you can't really see it, but this little hatch right here has a little handle. You'll pull it out, and as you can see, that's the OBD port. This fuse is here. We'll grab this little bad boy, and we'll plug it in. It actually goes upside down because our OBD port's kind of upside down, so it'll go in as such. Now, the one thing that I had mentioned in a previous video is I thought this latch would actually close perfectly, but that's because I thought the handle was a little further up. Sadly, the handle is right where the OBD port is, and even though this is a slim one, as you can see, it will not close. So if this is something that you want to use every day, or even any other onboard diagnostic type of tool like torque, you'll probably have to Dremel this section out, the whole portion, to hopefully have it seal flush. And I would recommend some sort of solution because, again, you have fuses down there. But let's get this thing started, and that way you guys can see what's going on. So first and foremost, you want to grab your smartphone and you want to download the Zus app, which is that right there. It's ZUS. Barely autofocuses, but you'll get that started. And essentially the first time you start this, you'll have this little signage at the bottom that says add your first device. After tapping it, you'll choose which of the devices it is that you bought from the company. I'll go over this a little bit more later on in the video because it's essentially a whole ecosystem, which is really nice. But in this case, we tapped the OBD2, so it's already set. I'll go down here to dashboard, and voila, it's trying to connect. So let me turn on the car and we'll go from there. So I've turned on the car and you'll notice that it's not doing anything. There's no reading. So there's a fix for that. What you'll have to do is you'll have to essentially just kill the app, whatever you're using. So in that case, I just killed the app, and now we're gonna relaunch it once more. And now you can see there's a little green graph right there. So I'm actually gonna mount it over here so you guys can kind of see what's going on. All right, so it's mounted. And as you can see, there's a lot of disclaimers that I have to give you first and foremost. One, like I said, it's an ecosystem, and we'll go over it a little bit more, but you'll notice that there's these 4 section corners on the app. So there is part of the ecosystem has a tire pressure monitoring system that you would have to buy separately. This app basically takes care of everything that's part of that ecosystem. So you would have to get each individual module to do everything that's included in this app. So that's why we don't have any readings on the tire pressure systems. You'll notice that the voltage also doesn't show anything. That would require, they have basically a USB charger that's built in that basically will check your voltage. It's a more expensive version of the last video I did, which had, you know, the voltmeters via the cigarette lighter or the 12 volt outputs. So there's that. My other complaint is that even though I'm fully registered into this app and I do have the VIN number dialed in and everything, you'll notice that turbo says plus 0.0. For whatever reason, this application, this device does not read the turbo. I think personally that it's just an oversight, or the way that the device and our cars are manufactured, that maybe that reading would come through a specific source, but it's not able to capture it. Things I do like, it has the revs down there, which you can see are constantly changing, has your loads. So for example, if you're going up a hill, or if you have more weight in the car, you'll see that go up. And then it has your coolant temperature. That whole little rev meter, here, I'm gonna rev it a little bit while it's warming up. So as you can see, there was a clear delay. So do not take this for anything that you feel is going to be instant feedback, because there's a slight delay. The other thing that I've noticed is that the rev meter, this one right here, is off. So the bottom one will register correctly, but the top one, the visual one, that's like a gauge, unfortunately does not. I've never seen it go past the 2000 mark, even when I'm on the freeway and say I do a pull. That's a little bit irksome. The speedometer portion is pretty accurate, but from what I've been seeing, it's based off of the GPS speed. So the phone itself is what's checking your speed based off of GPS signals and geographic location. So it's not getting the reading off of the actual system into the car. So those are a few of the gripes. I'm going to show you, there's a few other pages. So if you swipe here, you have your efficiency. So yellow is idling, green, it will tell you if it'll glow green and it'll say you're being efficient. And then it'll turn red, meaning that you're not efficient. And you should probably shift gears if you haven't done so already, or slow down a bit, I guess. It does have the counts of your hard accelerations, your hard brakings, your high rev, how long you've been efficient for, how long you've been idling for, and how long you've been speeding for. That's kind of a funny takeaway. This last page shows GPS speed. So like I said, your revs, your coolant temperature, and your engine load in real time. So this one's actually, this screen, even though it's not as fancy looking and it's just numbers, this is honestly probably more informational and pretty much what you want to see. It would have been cool if they did fancy gauges, but considering you're driving, this is probably a safer bet because you don't have to guess. You just see a direct number and you know what you're looking at. So this is a really neat tool. I'm gonna get on a drive because I want to show you guys a lot of the things I just mentioned. Hey guys, so I'm on the road and I personally don't recommend you guys doing this because obviously it's not the safest, but just to demonstrate what I was talking about the speed. So you can see right now it's saying 73, but if you look at my speedometer, I'm doing about 75. So it is a little bit off. Once I get to 80, it usually says I'm doing like 76. So I believe that the speed that's being captured on the app is being captured via GPS speed. So in this angle, you can kind of see both. So you can see I'm doing 80 and the app says I'm doing 76. So that's one interesting takeaway that I've gotten from the app. The other one is trying to figure out what dictates the efficiency. I changed the screen real quick and it says I'm speeding. I'm doing a little bit above 70 right now. The average flow of traffic is about 80 miles an hour. As you can see, this Jenny Coupe just passed me because I'm going too slow for them. Obviously, I'm not being efficient in their eyes. And I am below 3,000 RPM right now, so that's kind of interesting. But I'll show you what it shows you if, you know, when you're just kind of cruising, I guess. So coming off of the freeway, it states efficient because obviously we're slowing down and whatnot. It's kind of funny how this system works. Shout out to my boys texting me. So the other thing I kind of want to focus on is this bottom right square, the engine load, and it's actually really interesting. So right now I'm holding throttle obviously to stay consistent with the flow of traffic, and it states that my engine load's between 35 to 45%, which makes sense because I'm obviously using my throttle. But one thing that I want you to notice on how accurate that is the moment I let off the throttle, watch that percentage go down. Yeah, do you see that? Completely let off the throttle. Not sure if you guys heard the blow-off valve, but it went down to like 12% load. Now we're back to the 40s because I'm back on it. And now it's actually probably going to go up because I'm actually going up a hill. So let's see real quick. Yep. 56%, 60s. So again, this is obviously a really good function because if you're stressing your engine for no apparent reason, you'll know by seeing the load, and it'll help you have healthy driving habits and obviously promote engine longevity in the long run. Hey guys, so we're back at home base and there's a few things that I want to go over with the app that I obviously couldn't do while driving. So first and foremost, the app is absolutely free whether or not you have a device in the Zus family. So you can download the app and start looking at this ecosystem of products that they've created, so that way you could see what it would require for you to get the most out of this. Or perhaps there's one particular feature that you're looking for. You'll be able to figure out what it is that you want by just downloading this app. So a few things off the bat. At the beginning of the video, you noticed that it didn't immediately connect and I had to kill the app. So that is something that I ran into quite a lot, is that you have to constantly kill the app in your phone, whether it's Android or iPhone, and you essentially do that just so the app can get an actual connection, because if you don't, as you saw, you might not get any kind of reading, and that's very crucial for some of the features that this device has. So for example, it does log your trips. It'll even track the route, and the cool thing is it'll track basically how long it took you to do that trip. So besides mileage, it also tracks the time, and you can tell the app whether that trip was a business trip or just personal, so that way you could track the actual cost that it would have cost you, especially if you had to pay any type of parking or toll fees. So as you can see, I'm going to cover this part up. So unfortunately my camera doesn't really focus, but the bottom box is for toll fees, the top box is for parking fees. So you could actually calculate that and have a record, especially for those of you that do a lot of business traveling. I think that's a really neat feature that you're probably not going to get out of any other type of device that monitors your car's driving habit. Another neat feature, and I believe that you can actually get this functionality with any of their devices, is finding where you parked your car. So for a lot of people, they don't remember where they parked their car, and if you're not utilizing a Bluetooth connection to your vehicle with an app like Google's app, you might not have that feature already. So this device obviously gives you that, but the neat thing is that even more so than just, oh, this is where you parked, you get kind of a compass and a pinpoint finder. So based off of the last place that I parked, as you can see, there's this little compass, and as I turn it, see the direction that it's pointing at. So it's telling me that I'm 150 feet from where I parked. And this is more or less very accurate, so I think that's really neat. However, keep in mind that even if you're not into monitoring your car every single day, if you do not kill the app and have a proper connection, this function will basically tell you the last place you parked, and that could be terribly inconvenient, because at the time of making this video, when I was initially trying to record that function, it said that I was parked 20 miles away, which was because, again, I didn't have that proper connection after leaving my destination. Lastly, one of the coolest features that I think this thing has is just kind of onboard diagnostics. So of course you're plugged into your OBD2 port for the whole purpose of monitoring your car, and I really believe that's the biggest selling point of this device, is being able to monitor your car. So it makes sense that you could scan trouble codes, especially if you have a check engine light. And this is kind of where we start going to the cons of this device for the KDM ownership. As you can see, I had to scan, and this was great because sadly this gave me a proper test of a problem. My car does not have any problems, but as you can see, it says one issue detected. So if you guys saw my last video, I had to scan a trouble code that was unfortunately caused by this device on my Veloster. And as you can see here, and you can compare it to the last video, it matched up perfectly. It's a U0001 high-speed CAN. So this was, again, giving me the exact error code that my traditional OBD2 tool gave me, and that is that there was an issue with the high-speed CAN communication between the ECU and a few other components that obviously make your whole vehicle monitoring system. So the reason why I'm stating that this is kind of an issue is that I want to be extremely transparent to anybody that has a Veloster or any other Korean car. I don't believe that it's necessarily the product that's the problem. However, it might just be that there's a deficiency in the production of our vehicles perhaps, or it's just a bug that's affecting our vehicles when it comes to this particular app. Because I have seen people use universal OBD2 Bluetooth receivers and run an app like Torque to let them see their boost and other specific monitoring systems within the car, so they could get kind of like real-time feedback for performance gains. And I've never heard within forums or anything of those causing any issues. So it is a little disheartening to see that this, which is basically the same, if not more advanced, was causing issues from the start. And you're probably going to be asking, what kind of issues? Well, the first thing is, I'm going to show you in a clip. I was trying to recreate a specific problem, which is that every now and then when I would turn on the car, as you can see in the video, the traction control system, and maybe even the stability control system, would just kind of freak out, and you would get that light triggered immediately on your dashboard, letting you know that the system is malfunctioning or having some sort of problem, so the system has shut off. The funny thing is that I know that a lot of Veloster owners manually turn off their traction control system because of how aggressive our traction control system cuts out our power. So for a lot of people, this might seem like not a big deal and actually kind of a blessing in disguise. Nevertheless, this is a universal product that's meant for multiple vehicles. So if you were interested in this and you wanted to use it perhaps on a Genesis Coupe and a Elantra Sport, or maybe even one of the second gen Velosters or a Veloster N, I don't know if this exact same issue would be replicated on those, but because they do have similar groundwork like the first gen Veloster, it is safe to say that it is a possibility to have this issue. And if that happens, obviously that's kind of concerning. The second part, and probably the most alarming, and this only happened to me once, but once was more than enough because of how bad it got, is that when I was trying to record and replicate that one issue that would happen to me sporadically, I started driving the car, as you can see in the footage, and the moment I started driving the car, everything just freaked out, which is what caused that error code. We had the check engine light trigger, we had the tire pressure monitoring systems just completely go crazy, the airbag system light triggered, and at the moment of driving, there's no light for this, but my power steering just completely failed. So essentially, I thought I had stalled the car, but the car was actually very much still running, and I had no power steering whatsoever. Not a big deal, obviously, but seeing everything illuminate like that on the dashboard and then your car's revs just drop like crazy was extremely alarming, to the point where I thought, oh my goodness, something else must have happened. But because the car was still on, for whatever reason, I felt like it was this device. Now, the reason why it took me so long to make this video is because I wanted to confirm without a doubt that it was this device that was causing the problem. So while recording that video, I immediately turned the car off, removed the device, just unplugged it, turned the car back on, and everything went back to normal with the exception of the check engine light, which led me to come home, obviously, and scan the code and delete it. The drive home with that check engine light being triggered was just a normal drive. The car ran phenomenally. It was running fine. There was no problems. After erasing the code, I can tell you that I've driven the car for about 2 weeks without using that device, and that issue has never been replicated once. Not even the initial issue of just having that traction control system malfunction. So with that being said, it's pretty safe to say that this particular device is what was causing the problems for the Veloster. And after scanning the code, as you can tell, it's more than likely being triggered because our systems, for whatever reason, can't communicate fast enough or have a problem communicating certain features with that device. And it makes sense. As you can see within the review, we couldn't even get a boost reading, and I don't think that's a problem of the device itself. I think that's just kind of the way our cars are manufactured, like I mentioned. So if you are interested in this product, I think it is a phenomenal product, but I would be very cautious to use this on a Veloster, or again, try it at your own risk. It could be that the model that I got is just defective and is not a display of the quality of the other products. Things like this happen all the time. You'll buy an electronic and sometimes you'll be the unlucky one to get a defective unit, but this is a device that would go on a car, and the last thing you want is any of these problems arising while you're driving, because who knows what it could cause. So with that being said, the product is amazing. It has a lot of cool features. It's about 50 bucks. For the price, it's a little on the higher side for those of you guys that have like Android phones and can run just a universal Bluetooth adapter with an app like Torque. But after seeing these issues arise with our particular platform, I would just be extremely cautious. You might have better mileage with other vehicles, or you might even have better luck with your Veloster because this unit was defective. But full transparency, I can't, after seeing that and knowing that, personally recommend it. I would suggest looking for alternatives or spending the extra money and honestly just buying hardwired gauges into your car. If you're really passionate and focused on performance, one positive about that is that they look cooler and you'll probably not have any sort of lag because you're getting a direct reading. But guys, that wraps up the review of this. I'm really bummed out that I had to kind of leave it on that type of note because I thought that for what it was a phenomenal device. But hey, things happen. As always guys, thanks for being so patient with this review. As you could see, this is the reason why it took me a while to make this video. Like I said, I didn't want to give you guys false information. I wanted to make sure that you guys got a proper review and that I was able to cover as much as possible. But as always guys, especially during these times. Please be safe. Remember to keep doing you. This is your passion and this is for you, not for anybody else. Don't get disheartened. You know, I know times are tough, but things will just get better. As always, thanks for all the love, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye. You want to see something cool? This is pretty cool.